Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold stream. On today's stream, we are back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are new cards. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, the new branded support is finally here. Alongside a bunch of other stuff as well. Now, there are some notable things here that I would like to talk about, because there is something missing here that I think is rather interesting. Where's Phydraulis? Where's Harmonia? You know? The hand trap that's supposed to help Cool Toon even more. It has died. Konami has killed it. Or at the very least, it's not announced. Which is crazy to think about. Because the difference between the existence of Phydraulis and no Phydraulis for Cool Toon in a world post-Fallen and the Virtuous is night and day. Genuinely, I think that Cool Toon, if they do not actually receive Phydraulis, is like a mid-tier deck. Just because everything else gets so much fucking better. That's pretty much it. And we've seen the ban list. They didn't change any of the top tier decks. Everything's just gonna get way better. So, where the hell is the Tri-Brigade? Likely in the new secret pack, which they haven't announced, but maybe they will. Then again, maybe they won't. Then again, it might also be here. Then again, maybe it won't. I have no idea. I would be thoroughly surprised if we didn't get the new support for a lot of these archetypes. I would be thoroughly surprised if we didn't get Phydraulis. I would be thoroughly surprised if Konami just fucked us over. Because that's basically what's going to happen if they don't give us all of these additional cards. Especially because they just, like, removed a bunch of secret pack cards. Like, all of the Tri-Brigade stuff is just like... is there a Tri-Brigade pack? That's a genuine question. I see. Good to know. Yes. Tri-Brigade. Wrong button. Okay, so currently it's still in Echo Chamber Nation. That is the only place... That is the only place, currently, to get Shuraig. Like, surely they announce secret packs, right? Surely they, in addition to the selection pack being created, or the new selection pack coming out, right? With that maintenance, surely we also receive new secret packs for Dark Lord, because they also have their pack. They're now homeless, if I'm not mistaken. No, they would still have an opening active in Apocalypse, because I think they got cut from the Deceitful Wings. So I guess they technically wouldn't be homeless, but Tri-Brigade would be, right? Like I think the vast majority of the Tri-Brigade cards are just gone. Walbaz is a UR. Fallen and the Virtuous is a UR. Ecclesia is a UR. To be fair, you would only ever need 2 Walbaz. No Forbidden Crown? I'm wondering if Crown is going to be specific to the new Dark Lord pack. Because again, they did remove... We have maintenance, right, on Wednesday. In 2 days. What did they remove? They removed... stuff. Here. They removed Thought Ruler Archfiend, for reasons. They removed all of the Tri-Brigades from Echo Chamber Nation, which is a lot. And they also removed the Spriggans, which is also a lot. Dogma is a 2 of? Which Dogma? The new Dogmatica monster? No one plays that card. Unless you were talking about in Dogmatica. In which case, fair. But in regards to, like, branded, or in regards to any other engine that would want to make use of specifically Albaz, the new Albaz, or Fallen and the Virtuous, those are not necessarily important cards. Oh! Dragon that Devours the Dogma. True. I forgot about that card's existence. True. That would also be a UR. How many UR? The thing is, they only announced 2 cards that we would care about. But I would imagine, let's see, Albaz, Fallen and the Virtuous, Ecclesia, and Dogma. Was that 12 new URs? I guess closer to 10. 10 new URs for like every deck. Oh, sick. Hope the new kit's not a UR. Ha, hate to break it to you, bud. Get your wallet out. But yes, they removed all the Tri-Brigade. They even removed the Tri-Brigade from Alba Abyss. Kind of. Well, I guess they removed the Albion stuff. I don't know what's going on here. They removed the Yangzings from that. They removed all the Dark Lords, specifically from... Oh, no. They're removing it from the branded pack, but they're keeping it in the other pack. But they didn't remove the like Eldritch stuff from the other pack. So it's still Eldritch Dark Lord. So I guess we could see a world where we don't get Dark Lord in the next update, but that would be surprising. Also, when does all of this go into effect? June 3rd. Okay, that's what I thought. If they just remove your ability to pull Tri-Brigade cards, I'm gonna ask for the most that we could possibly do, and we just bomb the game on Steam and be like, why the fuck am I unable to actually get these cards? Sure, I can craft them, but why can I not pull them? Why are they removed from the secret pack? I highly doubt that they would do that, because that would be insane to do. So I don't think that that's gonna happen, but it would be kind of insane if they just like, oh yeah, by the way, now you just can't get Tri-Brigade cards. Anyway. New Frontier also got some of its cards removed. I feel like what they're trying to do here is they're trying to restructure a bunch of the secret packs, because there's a lot of bloat, especially when it comes to branded, because it's branded. And I think they're just trying to reconfigure some of these. So it's like, okay, the Dogmatica one's going to get the new Dogmatica stuff. The Tri-Brigade one is going to have their own pack, so now you can just play the Tri-Brigade, because, I mean, look at how many cards there are for Tri-Brigade and for Spriggan that are in this pack with Dogmatica, where there's already a ton of cards. So it's like, I get it. I would be thoroughly shocked if we didn't get a secret pack for Dark Lord as well, given the fact that they also removed him from the opening act of an Apocalypse. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it was just like, oh, we're shifting the bestial stuff into this pack, or whatever it is, right? Maybe some of the new branded support is going to go into this secret pack, right? I could see that being the case, and they just remove the Dark Lord from that pack. But I would also be thoroughly shocked if we didn't receive the new support, alongside things like Forbidden Crown in their own Dark Lord specific pack. But then they probably would have also removed it. Would they have removed it from the other pack? Maybe not. Maybe they wouldn't. Oh, White Albaz and the new Fusion are absolutely yours. Hate to break it to you. While we may have only seen 2 of the branded, or 3, I guess, 3 of the branded cards as URs, with the new Fleur-de-Lis, with the Fallen and the Virtuous, and with the new Ecclesia. White Albaz, gonna be a UR. The Dogma, Devouring Dogma, gonna be a UR. Because the other 2 decks in here are Eneacraft, which you could theoretically rarity bump and have like a bunch of high rarity cards within Eneacraft. That is a realistic possibility. I don't think it would be a good idea, or one that is likely to happen, especially given the fact that this pack is full of other branded cards. But my guess is that Eneacraft and Archfiend are going to be lower rarity in total, And a lot of the rarity, or the high rarity, the URs specifically, are going to be branded. How many of the Dogmatica cards are there? Is it just this one? I totally forgot this card existed, by the way. An AM branded against Cool Toon might drop down. Here's the thing. If Cool Toon doesn't receive Fidralis, playing into Sky Striker, Radiant Typhoon, or just Radiant Typhoon variants of decks with Fallen and the Virtuous, right? Malice, Sky Striker, Radiant Typhoon itself, is going to be a nightmare. Playing into Branded is going to be a nightmare. Playing into Draco Tail with Fallen and the Virtuous is going to be nightmarish. There's a lot of these archetypes in a lot of these decks that it's just like, oh, because of the existence of Wildaz and Fallen and the Virtuous, Cool Toon receives a massive hit in just quality. And in order to keep up with the metagame, it's going to need Fidralis just to keep up, right? I currently have it in tier 2 because the Justice Hunter decks, K9, Draco Tail, Yummy, are still extremely powerful within Master Duel, and are arguably better than Cool Toon. Quite a significant step up from Cool Toon. If Cool Toon doesn't receive the buff, all of these other decks do. Right? Like, pretty much every deck, except for, I guess, Yummy, maybe, like, gets a buff. And I guess maybe Vanquish Roll K9 doesn't get a buff, so you could argue that. But, like, Mitsu gets better as well with the new Archfiend stuff, right? There's a new control deck that doesn't give a shit about all of the Cool Toon stuff, because it's like, well, nice Ash Blossom, it'd be a shame if it did anything, you know? Or like, oh, nice... I literally can't think of anything that would do anything against the Anea-Craft cards. I guess Anea-Craft could be hit by some of the hand traps, so that's not like the end of the world, but... Why do most Anea-Crafts in the OCG not run hand traps? Because you need to see a critical mass of the Anea-Crafts in order to do anything. You're playing more of like a control strategy as opposed to something like a... I guess the idea is less that it is a control and more that it is unlike the control of something like Cool Toon, where you're aiming to hand trap the opponent and then do a big flashy combo. You're more reliant on your engine and your opponent basically not having effective ways to interact with you pre-side deck, and then side decking in some hate or specific matchup techs, right? So, for example, instead of playing like Ash Blossom, they're just going to play more engine so that their engine more effectively resolves, and seeing part of the Anea-Craft engine allows you to more effectively use more of it, if that makes sense, right? So it's like, if I have one Anea-Craft, that's a terrible hand. If I have 4 Anea-Craft, that's significantly better. And if I see like 1 Anea-Craft and 4 hand traps, I can't really do anything, right? And unlike something like Odeon that can play all of the like actual hand traps of the Dominus cards, Anea-Craft can't really do that. So instead they take in like higher power, high impact cards like Fissure or Shifter or Super Poly or something of that nature alongside their engine, so that if they do see their non-engine, it's going to have more of an impact. Hopefully that made sense. It probably didn't. What's up, Aiden? How's it going? KTers tier 2? Yeah. It is a significant step down from, at the very least, Vanquish Soul K9, and arguably Yummy and Draco Tail. I think you could move around some of the other things into tier 2 as well, but like, I think there is a very significant jump from the best deck being the tier 1 deck in Vanquish Soul K9 and like everything else. I'm doing all right. I'm not too excited for the new stuff, but at least it's something. I would have liked a better announcement for the new stuff. Like, I would like to have seen an announcement for the secret packs that theoretically, hopefully, positively, probably, maybe, potentially we're getting. Hold on. I dropped something. Again, I'd be shocked to see no Dark Lord nor Tri-Brigade support coming with the new update. So there's that. What else do we have to talk about? We have the new branded stuff. The new Archfiend stuff is pretty interesting and is a big boon to Mitsu. If I can pull it up. I guess Mitsu wouldn't be here. Oh, would it? Let me see if I can find the Mitsu that I'm talking about. There it is. Oh, I guess this isn't technically... I guess it's not technically Archfiend. It's the new non-Archfiend rituals. The, Demise guys. Let me show you what we're looking at. Archfiend. Let's go to the OCG. If this card is ritual summon, you can add 2 Archfiend cards. No. I think that was played at one point in Mitsu. I don't know if it still is. And then, yeah, I don't think the new Archfiend support is paired with Mitsu. I think it is the Demise? It's this guy. Yeah. Because you can reveal it, pay 2k, banish a ritual spell, and apply that card's effect. Which allows you to basically go, like, reveal, activate ritual, and ritual summon the Mitsu stuff. So it's like just seeing a Mitsu alongside this guy does the full line, right? So that's kind of the idea. But I don't know. I don't know if we're getting this. Because it is kind of... There's not a lot. Like, I think there's a new Ruin as well. Or am I wrong? Is there not a new Ruin? I think I am incorrect. What are the new Archfiends? Hold on. Yeah, I guess it's just End of the World Ruler, and then the new actual Archfiends. Because I thought there was a Ruin one. Did we not get one? Did we only get this guy? Am I crazy? I could have sworn we got a new Ruin as well. Okay, there is a small chance that we also get this guy. Even though he's technically Demise and not Archfiend. I just don't know where else they would throw him in. But maybe they're planning on something else for this guy. Because this is a big boon to Mitsu strategies. Right? Though I don't know how much it would matter. But because yeah, you would have, yeah, honestly, you could still, with this and any of the other big rituals, you'd still be able to do quite a lot. Don't know. I don't know. The new Archfiend stuff is not nearly as good. So I can't say with certainty that the new Archfiend stuff will do anything. I thought we were getting the Demise stuff. That's my bad for misunderstanding which was which. Though, who knows? Right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Who knows? Eneacraft. I'm surprised it took us this long to get it. The new Dark Lord support probably won't do anything if we do get it. Though I do like it. It is pretty good, and I will be playing it. I don't think Eneacraft did anything in any of the YCSs. No. Alright. Hello? Oh. Let's actually take a look at Eneacraft. Did I spell that correctly? I did! Hooray! In Peru, it got top 8. And that's a real region. Yeah. They're playing Sol and Luna. I forgot about this card. This card's actually very funny. Eneacraft is a really cool concept, I do agree. They're playing Vanity's Fiend. Oh. If you're wondering why the cool tunes are in here, it is because, I believe, is it this one? Each player reveals a monster that does not have question mark attack. Add the monster with the highest attack to the hand. Neither player can activate the effective... hold on. From their deck. Yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you as to why these guys are in here, per se. Just cuz. It's because of Solemn Accusation? No? I don't think any of the Eneacrafts inherently interact with that. And I know Sol and Luna doesn't. So I have no idea why these guys are in here. I know why Ecclesia is in here. But I have no idea why the cool tunes are in here. I guess for Phydraulis? No, because Phydraulis isn't in here. Don't know. Let's look at other decks. Maybe that'll tell us. This one has more cards in here, which is something. Am I missing something? Does something actually interact with the extra deck? Where, like, you banish a guy and then your opponent banishes a guy? Is it Sol and Luna? No. Sol and Luna just books guys and flips them face up. No, Pot of Extrav's not in here. Okay, oh, okay. See, this one is playing Winter Cherries. So yeah, I have no idea why... Maybe for Cool Tune purposes, where it's like, oh, if Cool Tune banishes one of my guys, maybe they'll think I'm playing Cool Tune. I don't know, it could be a bluff. I literally have no idea. I'm now just trying to figure out whether or not... Yeah, because this guy's playing Malice cards. I have no idea. I think they're just playing whatever. No clue. Couldn't tell you. Every single one of these extra decks has looked different. Wild. Yeah. See, like, this one is playing Phydraulis, which would make sense as to why you would play a whole bunch of Synchros, right? Specifically things like Packbait, Malong, even the Cool Tunes technically make sense because you got to reveal a certain amount of names, and revealing a whole bunch of Cool Tunes can be like, ah, I'm playing Cool Tune. That's like a nice bluff in game one to kind of identify, like, okay, here's this thing that I'm doing, and then the opponent maybe makes an end board that dies to the Eneacraft stuff. That one makes sense. No idea why we're doing it in not Phydraulis builds, nor in builds with cherries. So, I don't know. I might be missing something, but I haven't read over the Anea craft cards a whole ton. Oh, we have a top 16 at YCS Vegas playing Anea craft, but this was also a team YCS, which means that they had teammates to potentially help them or assist them. Maybe that's the idea there. But this one's also playing things like Daruma and Dimensional Fissure in the main, which I think is probably better. Yeah, definitely a anti-meta style deck. Does he have a lock from extra deck? I don't know. Don't know. He just ripped it from his Malice deck because he said he wasn't going into it anyway. Yeah, I think that is the case. I think it is literally just a mind game situation where it's like, oh, I'm just going to, like, okay, here, all of these, except for maybe Typhon and Zeus, and maybe some of the rank 9s, all of these are just targets for Ultimate Slayer. Like, every single one of these is just a target for Ultimate Slayer. Even Cambro Raster. So, you know, a lot of that, I think, is just whatever. This guy is playing fucking Jurax. I have no idea why. Because they can, you know? Yeah. No clue. Maybe it's for, in case they play against Dogmatica stuff, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna have you send cards to the grave. This guy's playing... No. There's no shot. Magic Cylinder. With Magic Cylinders. What happened here? 3 months ago. Piloted at a top 4 of nearly a 200-person event. Alright. Mimurghoul. Oh? Mimaghoul. What? That's crazy. Where's Cambro Raster in here again? What am I missing? I swear I'm missing something. No. Release? No. Reverse? I have no idea. This one doesn't send... This one does! Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, does, right? Both players send as many... because it's possible from their deck to extra deck. Yeah. Okay, that one makes a bit more sense. But I don't think any others were playing that, right? No, yeah, no Mega Monarch. There you go. Well, interesting. Hey, there's a new card. Is it just the one? I think it's just the one. We have a new rank 3 cringe. We have Swikolovi? Anyway, the Brilliantly Crowned Heavy Cavalry. Okay, which is a rank 3 light beast warrior effect Xyz monster with 2k 2k. Once per turn, you can Xyz summon. You can also Xyz summon this card by using a beast monster you control with 2,000 or less attack, transferring its materials. Beast monster. Okay. So you can't Xyz this on top of a Zodiac, which was my original concern. It was like, oh, you could use Broadbull to search out a guy and then slap this guy on top, and that would do something. Cannot be used as Xyz material. If this card destroys a monster by battle, you can place a crown counter, then apply this effect based on the number of crown counters on it. Gains 400, gains 600, and then returns this card to the extra deck and draws 3. Wow, this is the worst draw 3 I've ever read. Brand new Legacy Pack filler. This is... this is something, theoretically, if you squint and then blink and then don't open your eyes, it could do something. The effect is to play on the distances for the 3 horse races. Win all 3 and you get the Triple Crown. Okay, that is a cute... Yu-Gi-Oh! Does have some very cute effects. They're very cute, and I am not Japanese and therefore kind of miss a lot of those intricacies, but they're 4 horse races. The 2000 and then the 2020, or the 2400 distance, and then the 3000 distance for the horse races, and then if you win all 3, you get the Triple Crown. Interesting. That is a card. That is true. It is, in fact, a card. Hold on. Let's do meme review. Shall we look at memes and see if they're good? The Michael Jordan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Mirror Jade, the Balling Dragon. Mirror Jade be ballin'. At least they chose the correct goat. Alright. That wasn't terrible. Me and my 3 a.m. thoughts. He's probably thinking of something else. Thinking about if I'll go 40 or 41 main deck. Some motherfucking electromagnet turtle? Okay. Your child will be so happy. Has a cashier ever said anything to you about your purchase? Genuine question. Has any cashier ever said anything to you about what you have purchased? I worked as a cashier. I don't think I commented once on anything anyone has purchased, unless they brought it up. The fuck do you mean? They're talking to you? I didn't know they could do that. Hey, it's Nibiru. It's a hero player, and then... Oh, Nibiru. Comedy. At least that one was funny. Coworker said I was eating healthy today. Okay, that's different. That's not what I meant. But that is weird. I'm talking about a cashier. If you are checking out. Was it a cashier? It's like, eating healthy today. That's so weird, though. I don't think I would ever comment on a coworker's lunch, unless it like was popcorn or something like that, where it has like a very clear smell, and they like pop popcorn. I'm like, smells like a movie theater in here, you know, like a dad. 'Cause I'm old. That was easy enough. The Humble Psychic End Punisher, they put that shit in your extra deck, by the way, in the new solo mode. Yep. Would you rather excavate 1 or draw 2? Do you know what's funny? Is that this Sylvan card, there are instances where you would rather just excavate. A front end cashier. That is okay, that's still weird. That's still weird. But it is less weird. Meta bad? Beta mad. Meta bad. Meta bad. Okay, yeah. True. These are memes. I will say these are much better than we've seen in the past, like, however long. Hero has 1 deck, Eyes is 1 deck. Dash Eyes, sorry. Imagine. YCS Columbus Finals was such an incredible, skill-intensive Yu-Gi-Oh! Match. I know both players played perfectly. Yeah, I could have played better. I had a few misplays. Yeah, I could have sequenced better. I had a few misplays. You too misplayed? I don't know why this image is so funny. Holy shit. Oh. I could not express to you why that was funny, but it is. But, yeah. Of course they misplayed. Jesse pulling up and winning with a dead deck. Who the fuck is this? Is this what... Why is Joshua Schmidt here? I'm so lost. Is that supposed to be Jesse? I can't tell. I'm so confused. POV, your opponent activated Imperm. I'm not reading all that. Okay. I see we're back to pumping out generic boss monsters. Elf note if Baron and Caesar had been banned. Kaiser. What the fuck is Kaiser doing in Elf note? Oh. What's this bucket? The, Fiendsmith. Oh my gosh, my brain died. What does Zoo even do in 2026? What is happening? I'm sorry, little one. Sees Arcana? Treats his monsters like shit. 10-year-old me. Wow, the guy is such a jerk. Anyway, popped a baby. Okay, at least it's artwork. But I highly doubt it's this person's artwork. Of course, it's fucking Nev Guy. Magna Wars and TCG, we can make Exciton to bridge into Fiendsmith, and Delusion is pretty strong too. It's not even a funny use of the meme. It's not even a good use of... This is a... Bro. Also, have you played against Yu-Gi-Oh! Or TCG magnets? They do the same shit. I'm lying to you. I'm just blatantly lying to you. Anyway. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will never beat the allegation. My opponent who destroyed my monsters 3 times? Is there something on the board preventing me from destroying monsters? No. 4th attempt will surely do it. Who tried to destroy my monsters 3 times? Something on this... I know exactly what I'm doing. It doesn't even know the name of the cards. Y'all play DDD? Yeah, I play DDD. How'd you know? Flowchart means flowchart? All according to the flowchart? They didn't even... There's a space in this one. You could have at least put the space. That would have been a funny joke. Damn, they even fucked up the meme format that they wanted to do. Alright, that one's... It's a good meme. Master Duel players really be LARPing their own game. True. True. I wish all bad decks were good. RB stands for really bad. Oh, really? Fucker, this had 34 players. This is Radiant Typhoon. This is Odeon. You're not proving your point. This one is the funniest because it seems like they think that they are actually proving a point, when in reality are doing quite basically the opposite. Holy shit. If I saw these deck lists, I'd be like, oh yeah, RB did something. But 34 players, that's a local. My local has that many people. If RB won, I wouldn't blink. They didn't even win. They got top 4. Okay, this one, 180 players. That's something. That's at least something. Yeah. Well, that was, this is why we don't do those. Alright, chat. Alrighty, chat. We're gonna do... some testing of some of the new decks and some of the new idea, not testing necessarily, but we're gonna go over some of the new stuff, some of the new cards. Here's my Jerry Beansman deck. It's a cool tune deck, but I have a single copy of Jerry Beansman that I can never summon. True. Here's my RB deck. It summons Brute Blues to search out nothing. I don't know. It's actually just Sky Striker. I put Brute Blues in the extra monster zone because I can make him bigger with this one guy that I can draw sometimes. True. Anyway, we're gonna take a look at the new branded stuff. Albayas. We're looking at Fallen and the Virtuous. We're looking for the white Albaz. We're looking for the new Dogmatica. Sorry, we gotta play at least one of this guy. The new Ecclesia. What does the new Dogmatica card even do? Not that one. We'll look at the new Tri-Brigade stuff, because I would be thoroughly shocked if we didn't actually get the new Tri-Brigade support as well. We're just gonna kind of take a look at it. Am I blind? Am I just not seeing it? Does it not connect to Albaz? It might not. What does this guy even do? Almost to find out. Oh. During the main phase, if a monster special summon from the extra deck is on the field, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned from your hand, you can set a Dogmatic trap from your deck. It can be activated while your opponent controls a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or a Link monster with 2,500 or more attack. You can only use each effect once per turn. Notably, it doesn't include rituals. Cringe. I mean, it makes sense, but cringe. Reveal, set, reveal, set. Here's how you play an AA craft. You reveal a card. And then you reveal that same card 4 more times. You go, look at this card. And then you go, hey, look at this card. And you go, hey, did you see this one? Your opponent goes, what the fuck? This is a card that does exist. Theoretically, it's good. I don't think it's all that useful. The new Spriggan kit is actually pretty useful alongside the other Tri-Brigade stuff. Let me actually see the Tri-Brigade. I'm just assuming we're getting Tri-Brigade because I would be thoroughly shocked if we didn't. I believe it's just you and then the new Link 2, Mousa. Which says, if this card is linked summon, you can send 2 Tri-Brigade cards with different names from your deck and or extra deck to the graveyard. And then you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Beast, Beast, Warrior, Winged Beast. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, change it to face-down defense position. So, pretty solid. But it is mostly used for that first effect to just send to. And a lot of times you will be sending Tri-Brigade Spriggan's kit, which says if you control a Tri-Brigade or a Spriggan monster, you can accept this card, you can special summon this card from your hand. If sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one of the following monsters from your grave, which is a Tri-Brigade, a Spriggan, or a Fallen of Albaz, or a monster that mentions it. Meaning that on top of this being usable in Tri-Brigade, you can actually use this in branded as well. And if I'm not mistaken, there are some lists from the TCG that ended up using the Tri-Brigade kit. Let me see if I can find any. This is the Draco Tail variant. We don't want that one. Yeah, okay. There were actually quite a few. Yeah, this card basically allows you to you send it to the graveyard via 10,000 various different means in this deck, right? You can send it off of Albion, you can send it off of, or I guess you could special summon it off of something like a Titaniclad, not Titaniclad. Yes, Titaniclad? Something of that nature. You could just discard it. You can send it off of, you can't send it off of Deer Servant. You can fuse with it, with Branded Fusion, because it's a light and it's a beast. You can go into Ringbrum. You can send it off Grangrenol, if I'm not mistaken, because it's a light. Or I guess not directly off of Grangrenol. What am I thinking of? There's a card. You can send it off of Sarani, right? No. Can you search it off for this? No. I don't know. I know that there's... What's the other way that I'm thinking of? You could search it and then discard it. That's fairly consistent. There's a bunch of different ways to get access to it in particular. I don't know the exact lines to, like, specifically send it to the graveyard. But the idea is, like, once it gets into rotation, most notably in your hand, right? What? Whoops. Once you put it in hand, From there, you can activate something like a Branded Opening. You can activate something like a Branded High Spirits. You can activate... Why is this... Is this supposed to be opening? You can activate something else that discards, right? And then that will summon the Wild Baz, which is pretty nice. Because everything for Wild Baz. We're doing anything we can for Wild Baz. Traizu is so back. True. Dark Lord will come as a structure deck. What? Why? Just want to know if I'm interested in joining a Yu-Gi-Oh! D&D campaign or no. No. Thanks for asking. Nope. This feels like this should be opening. It's crazy that you can play Nadir Servant in Branded now because you just don't care about the extra. Isn't that a crazy sentence? Like, oh yes, the extra deck in Branded. Yeah, we don't care. Resolving Branded Fusion. No, we don't do that here. We're actually just summoning Wild Baz. Truly, truly an experience. Anyway, if you haven't read, Wild Baz is a crazy card. We call it Wild Baz because it is literally Fallen of Albaz, but it is the Fallen of the White Dragon, so it is white and Albaz, Wild Baz. Why did I explain that? You knew this. Anyway, if this card is added, or sorry, if this card is in your hand, you can send a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz to the extra deck, or from the extra deck to the grave, in order to do special summon this card. Notably, that sends for cost, because Konami really liked Circular and then did it 10,000 more times. Then you are locked into level 8s, both in Fusion and Synchros. However, on summon, it can also summon an Ecclesia monster from hand, deck, or grave. Notably, there's a bunch of fantastic targets for this, but the big one is... Hold on. How do you spell Ecclesia? CC. 2 C's. I got there eventually. Notably, it's this one, which can tribute itself in order to summon either a Sword Soul or a Fallen of Albaz, which is also very funny. I guess you could also technically summon this one, the Dogmatica one, which also adds a Dogmatica card, which is not Nadir Servant, but you could add something like this one, because this one is counted as a Dogmatica card. So you can add Fallen and the Virtuous, which is fantastic. So that's kind of the idea. But notably, it puts a tuner onto the field off of the incredible Ecclesia, because then you can use both of those in order to go into the new Ecclesia, which says, during the main phase, you can banish this card and special summon a Fallen of Albaz or level 4 monster that mentions it from your deck or grave, and this just banishes itself to the end phase. If this card is in the grave, you could target in a level 8 fusion monster in your grave or banishment, and a card on the field, and shuffle both of those into the deck, notably giving you the ability to remove something as well. Crazy. So lots of different things off of this individual card, giving you just a myriad of additional options, right? So he's a very wide pool of choices and options, all within a singular card, and a lot of ways to get to him as well. So that is why. That will be an infestation of Cool Toon, Branded, and Sky Striker. Yep. Yup. Do you know what you could do to beat all of those? Play Draco Tail. Draco Tail is just the better Branded right now. Especially with this card. Which, by the way, this card doesn't seem all that crazy, but in reality, it is. Here's the thing. It says, send for cost a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz from your extra deck to the grave, and then target a card on the field, a face-up card, and destroy it. Now, the destroy it effect is the actual effect of the card. All of the rest of that is cost. So you target a thing, you pop, or you send a guy, you target a thing, and then you can pop it. But you also get to reset a thing, because genuinely, it's just going to reset itself. So every turn you're going to have that additional destruction effect, meaning if your opponent doesn't kill you, you just get constant recursion and advantage. However, on top of that, Fallen and Virtuous has an additional effect, which says if you have an Ecclesia monster in your field or grave, you can target a monster in either grave and monster reborn it, again, at quick effect speed, giving you the ability to, in addition to the Ecclesia, reborn a guy. This oftentimes is used to like summon back a Mirror Jade, or to like reborn a powerful monster the opponent has, or to do something of that nature. You can also use it to like reborn Walbaz, and then Walbaz can reborn a guy, and then you can go into a myriad of other things, right? You can summon the Albaz from your deck off of the incredible Ecclesia, giving you the ability to fusion summon with the opponent's card on their turn. There's a bunch of crazy things that this card specifically does for Albaz, or for Branded in particular. So, those are mostly the new Branded cards. They're kind of crazy. A lot of them are gonna see a lot of play in a lot of other decks as well. Right? We already talked about the Tri-Brigade stuff, right? But all of the Fallen of Albaz stuff can be used in Draco Tail, because they're all level 8s. It can be used in Aeacraft. It can be used in Branded. It can be used... The Fallen and the Virtuous will see play in pretty much any deck, period, that has extra deck space, because it can reset itself via the send effect of... or send cost, I guess, of the first effect. Kind of crazy. And that's generally the idea there. Now, as far as the other cards go, do we know what else we're getting? I forgot what else we were getting. The Archfiend stuff theoretically does stuff, but not fantastic. And then the Aeacraft stuff is pretty simple. I've actually gone over this already, but we're going to go over it again. Pretty much every single one of these cards reads the exact same. So all of the low-level monsters all basically say, each time a monster is flipped face up, place a counter on it for its pendulum effect, and then you can pay life to reveal 3 Aeacraft cards. Your opponent randomly picks one. Basically, it's like a search if you have all 3 in the deck. And then on flip, they do something specific. For example, this one banishes a random card from the opponent's hand. This one negates the effects of an effect monster your opponent controls. This one shuffles 3 cards from the opponent's grave into the grave and or banishment. And then this one can destroy a monster. But then they also all have the same effect. All of them, I believe, all of the Aeacraft, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm lying. I think it's just the low-level ones. No, they all do. Okay. I forget which ones do which sometimes. They all have the effect right here that says you can reveal this card in your hand to special summon a monster from your hand in face down defense position. Meaning, you could special summon any monsters, any number of monsters, any kind of monsters. And there's not a once per turn on this effect. Meaning, if you were to reveal a monster, you could do it again, revealing that same monster, basically giving your opponent no information except for that one individual card. Allowing you to cycle all of your guys or set all of your guys, and they each generate different effects. All of the big guys have an effect on the field when they are face down that triggers when the opponent does a thing, right? So for example, when the opponent activates a card or effect in response to your card effect or activation, you can flip this card face up and return up to 3 cards from the field to the hand, right? That's Leon. Tail has the ability where you can flip it face up, and then monsters and Aeneas spells that you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects for the rest of the turn. So if they activate Raigeki, you flip it up. You don't. We have Pixea, which flips up to negate the effect, right? When your opponent targets, I believe. Targets a card you control, you flip it up, negate the effect, Then you can banish a random card from your opponent's hand. And then we have Spia, which says when your opponent activates a card or effect as Chain Link 3, you can flip this up and negate the whole order, or the whole chain, right? Very good against Draco Tail, right? Stuff of that nature. And then we have the Whale, which says when your opponent just activates a card or effect on the field, you flip it up to negate the effect and then destroy the card. And that's generally the idea, right? You can also pair it with other such cards, such as like Vanities of some kind, right? Locking your opponent out that way. You can also pair it with Fissure, because you don't really care about cards going to the graveyard. Your control deck, you can pair it with Fissure or Macrocosmos or other such floodgates. So there's that. I would be shocked if more than like 3. Actually, I'd be shocked if more than 2 Eneacraft cards are UR. But maybe. Do I still believe what isn't a QB? This one? This is an octopus? Yes. It's a squid. It's a giant squid. And then we have a spider. And then we have a whale, spider, squid, arachnid, lion. I understand that this could be a QB or a nine-tailed fox, but it looks like a squid. You will not change my mind on that. It looks more like a squid than it does look like a fox, especially with the way that the tails are. It looks like it's going, you know. Anyway, that's kind of the idea of these. I guess they're also kind of paired with rank 9s because they're all 9s. I don't know. They're interesting. I don't know how good they will be. And the Archfiend stuff is... Oh my gosh! It's fine. I got there. The new Archfiend Emperor is kind of interesting. It's a pendulum. However, of course, it can't really get to the pendulum zone. You can't just place it in the pendulum zone. But this is to say you can target one other face-up spell trap on the field, destroy both it and this card. You can only use effects once per turn. You can ritual summon this card with Throne of Archfiends. Must be ritual summoned. I guess you could just pop it, right? This is unaffected by other monster effects while in the extra monster zone, and then you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned from the extra deck, you can banish all monsters on the field except those in the extra monster zone. If this card is in the extra monster zone, you can special summon one fiend monster from your hand, deck, grave, and or banishment. Or banishment. So, the idea is you summon this guy. It's pretty good. He's not great. The other Archfiend cards are also pretty good. We have Matriarch, which says very similar, right? You target an Archfiend spell trap in the grave or banishment to destroy this card, and then add the targeted card to the hand. You recycling resources. You could also ritual summon it with Throne of the Archfiends, and then it's unaffected by other monster effects while in the extra monster zone. Both of those have that effect. On Ritual Summon, you can destroy as many spell traps your opponent controls as possible. Then, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can banish all spell traps in your opponent's grave, allowing you the ability to remove all of the cards from the opponent there. Just kind of removing all of the spell traps. Those are the two big payoffs. There are a few other cards that I believe we're getting. Where is he? Where is he? This guy. Metador. This card is actually good. If this card is ritual summoned, it adds 2 Archfiend cards from deck to hand. And then it cannot attack for the rest of its turn. However, that doesn't really matter. You can only use the effect. You can only use this effect once per turn. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. And then after damage calculation, if this card battled a monster, you can destroy that monster and inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. The important part, obviously, being if you ritual summon it, you get 2 additional guys. Crazy. Crazy. I don't really think there's much else. Unless I might be missing something, to be fair. Yeah, that guy we don't have. I think this guy's new. You contribute it from hand or face of field to add an Archfiend card. Except itself. Cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Archfiend monsters. But you can normal summon a Fiend monster during your main phase this turn, in addition to your normal summoner set. When your ritual monster is destroyed by battle while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card. Basically, just giving you another searcher. I don't really think there's much else going on with this deck as of yet. I guess Highness also. Which is just a searcher as well. Like, lots of ways of searching. There's not really a payoff for going first. And with the new Dogmatica cards, we should be getting the new Dogmatica cards. Right, we're getting Fleur-de-Lis. Unless there are more. I mean, obviously we have the Dogma. We're getting that one. I don't know if we're getting Quad Dogmatic Beast. Because I don't know if this is even out in the OCG. It should be at this point. I don't know if we're getting this. But we should be getting pretty much all of the rest of these. I'd be shocked if we didn't get these two. Lawbringer nor the Knighted. But I guess we already have this one, right? I forgot about this. This is just an old art. Yeah, it's literally just this guy and this guy. And I guess this one that we wouldn't know about. But the other two we have had announced. Archfiends aren't really all that interesting. Dogma goes well with the Archfiend stuff? Relatively. I mean, Dogma goes well with Ritual, in theory. This is a pack where pretty much any and everything you could probably obtain, and would be pretty good, Michael. If we go back to the actual pack itself, you could skip the Aeneacraft and the Archfiend cards, but all of the branded stuff, the Ecclesia, let me show you the cards you should be looking out for. You need the Fallens. Many variants of him. You want 3 Fallen and the Virtuous. You want at least 2 of the White Fallen of Albaz, and you can craft this one fairly easily. And then you want the new Ecclesia, as well as some of the old Ecclesia. You probably want Cartesia if you don't already have it, and then you want the incredible Ecclesia as well. This one, I believe, is an SR. I could be wrong about that one. But if you're just looking for, like, the pulls, or, like, the staple cards to look out for, these right here. These will all be URs, and you're going to need them. These two are from other packs. Likely will have either reprints or some sort of representation within the pack. We'll probably have reprints, right? So I would suggest getting these as well. But those are the only, like, important pulls for the new, from the new set, as, like, staples that can be thrown into a bunch of different decks. If you also want to, not want to, you're also going to need these, I guess, to pair with this guy. At least 2. But then the Dogma, which is likely to also be a UR, will likely be an inclusion in at least 1, likely 2 copies. So that could be something to look out for as well. I don't know if they're adding the overframe cards. Maybe. Maybe not. Depends. Because, like, we already have animations for a lot of our cards, so... What's up, Angel? How's it going? This is what I would suggest building as, like, the branded core. And to be fair, you could get away with just 2 of this. Because it searches itself, and it resets itself. So you could theoretically play 2. I think pulling 3 is nice as an option in other decks, like Radiant Typhoon. But that's pretty much it. Inea Craft is only useful in Inea Craft. And the Archfiend cards are only useful with the Archfiend cards. So either of those are not necessarily that applicable outside of themselves. So those are pretty skippable. But we also don't necessarily know what we're getting from the new pack. We don't have like 100% guarantee of like, here's what's to get, here's what's to craft. We only know the 5 cards, and from that, obviously this is going to be important, and obviously this is going to be important. These two kind of pair together. You can kind of get away without getting the Walbaz stuff, so if you're really wanting to cut down on what cards to craft, what cards to pull, take those. What's up, Vince? How's it going? Hopefully that made sense. Cool. Let's do tier lists. Let's do a tier list, shall we? Are we going to test the Zodiac stuff? Is it out? Did they... Hold on, wait a second. Am I crazy? Did the ban list already happen? I thought that was June 4th. No, can't test it. I will when it comes out, yes. However, I don't think it does anything. Theoretically it does, realistically it doesn't, right? It gives you arguably a better normal summon for Zodiac, which is nice, right? Because like Rat Peter is really good, right? And it gives you the ability to like search more effectively with the Zodiac kind of pivoting either into Tri-Brigade or pivoting into something else like Lunalight or something of that nature. However, I don't think that changes too much in regards to either of those decks because you're eating a normal summon to gain access to that search. So it could do something, but it's really not going to change a whole ton, right? Like, if you were to, for example, go normal summon Rat Peer, send a guy, go into Broad Bull search, you're still playing pretty heavily into Droll, and then you're still more or less ending on the same thing. I don't know. It could help, but the issue with Zodiac in particular is the fact that it doesn't really, like, its game plan hasn't changed, and its game plan has been outdated for quite some time. How many decks do you see making Zeus right now? Just in general. Not a lot. Rat Peer needs like 3 imperms. Otherwise, you get F-Zero Draco Future. Right. I mean, it does stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't. I did say it doesn't. I don't think it changes the needle too much on the power level of the deck itself. Right? Of Zodiac or Tri-Brigade or any of the decks that would use that as like a normal summon, right? Theoretically, it makes it a little bit stronger. And it is adding more shit into Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel that doesn't necessarily add to the quality of the games. It makes going first even more powerful, requiring even more hand traps and more bullshit. But I don't necessarily think that it's like the end-all be-all when it comes to unhits. I don't think it changes much. That's what I will say. Best tower. More like worst towers. Yeah. this works. Why are Predaplants on here? It's a great question. Furhire's on here. Which is something. What is this one? No idea. Couldn't tell you. Basically another Fiends, but yeah. I think it's arguable. What's up, Dung? How's it going? I think F-Zero technically has... How do I put this? F-Zero has matchups where it's better than Draco. Or, not Draco. High Wave King, right? And vice versa. Because, like, being able to negate and steal, as opposed to just negating special summons, can matter in some instances, right? Like, negating a White Forest monster and stealing it could be more impactful, right? Or, like, negating a Exo-Sister, or negating Walbaz, you know? Because then you're also taking it, cutting them off of that resource, preventing them from utilizing it in Grave or something like that, right? Or even using it yourself. Ah! Someone followed. What's up? Okay. Let's talk about the best decks with which to climb. What do we not have in Master Duel? What is this? Oh, this is Blitzkrieg, which we don't have. We might talk about that one. We didn't get the new Doomset cards, which makes me sad. We don't have that one. What else am I missing? This one. What is this one? Enhance. Chat, who is this? It's a Power Patron? No. It might be. You might be right about that one. You might be right about that one. Though I cannot say for certain. Is it Power Patron? Power Patron. It is. Yep, it's Shade Beast. Cool. Good to know. Alright. Okay. So, this is for climbing. I always gotta preface this. I don't play tournaments. I have no real knowledge when it comes to tournaments and playing in a tournament environment. Best of 3, best of 1, side deck, no side deck, single elim, Swiss. Can't tell you. So, this is for climbing specifically, for getting from the lower ranks to the higher ranks and just rank up in general. So this is kind of a meta call, for lack of a better term. So if my tier list is inaccurate, it's not. Fuck you. I'm only kind of kidding. For the most part, it's for climbing, right? So it's not necessarily what the best deck is, it's what the best deck is for climbing. So, first and foremost, let's talk about what is likely to see a ton of play, which is branded, and more specifically, branded Draco Tail, which gets substantially better than just pure branded, because, simply put, the Draco Tail cards are better than the branded cards in general, right? Being able to have additional effects when they are used for Fusion Summon is pretty nice, and they make the best use of the new Fallen of the Virtuous and Walbaz. Well, maybe not the best use, but second best. Right behind branded, but the new branded cards do not surpass that of Draco Tail. So those two decks in particular, regular branded, just pure branded without the Draco Tail stuff, and with the Draco Tail stuff, are likely to see a ton of play. Other notable decks to see a ton of play: Sky Striker, with the new Radiant Typhoon, Fallen and Virtuous package. Radiant Typhoon, Cool Tune. We'll get to Cool Tune in a sec. And that's pretty much it in terms of like the big hitters. You'll probably also see some Anea Craft. You probably won't see Archfiend. Just in general, unless we get the new Demise cards, then you might see some Mitsu thrown in there, but we don't know about that. So, all in all, that's the idea. Moving on, Draco Tail branded. Actually, let's do Big Patrol K9. Big Patrol K9 is still tier 1. The thing is, twofold. One, it's really good into Draco Tail in particular. The K9 cards kind of eat the Draco Tail cards alive, because like Izuna just punishes you into oblivion, and they're just generally, maybe not completely eaten alive, but substantially better, right? So yeah, the K9 cards in general are just like a really strong matchup into the Draco Tail cards, beating them out on just pure advantage and kind of punishing them for playing their own game, which means that the Draco Tail stuff is a little bit weaker, and same thing with the branded stuff, right? Unless we receive some sort of massive hit to the K9 half in particular, I think that that is always going to be a relatively good option in a metagame full of hand traps and hand interaction, as well as grave interaction, right? So being able to kind of lock that down, very impactful. And then the Vanquish Soul cards are just the best engine to do that through. Next up, we have Branded Draco Tail, which is arguably the best deck in the game, alongside a lot of the other stuff. And these two kind of stand atop everything else, especially for climbing, because the Branded Draco Tail stuff is just like the best deck in the game, right? It's incredibly powerful. It plays through a whole bunch. It has engine, it has non-engine. It can play into a lot of the common hand traps like Fua, Maxi, a lot of the turn enders, even Droll just kind of like gets nullified, right? Which is another boon to the K9 stuff as well. You can kind of nullify things like Droll and Fua and what have you, right? So those two kind of paired together of like, is good into the hand traps and plays into established boards and non-established boards, going first and going second very effectively. Pair those together and it's like, yeah, one of the best decks in the game. I don't know if it's the best necessarily for climbing as opposed to the K9 Vanquish Soul stuff, but those two I think are in a tier of their own. I think they are leagues above everything else, unless Cool Tune gets Fidralis. So we're going to talk about Cool Tune here. Cool Tune is interesting because right now, Cool Tune is probably the most represented deck in the game. I don't think it's the best. I think it's still Vanquish Soul K9, but it is a very popular deck. I don't think it's going to lose much in terms of popularity with the new stuff. It might, but I think it will still see a lot of representation. Pretty much everyone and their mother has been screaming from the mountain tops saying play Cool Tune, except for me. So a lot of people are still playing it. A lot of people are experimenting with it. I would expect to still see it around even with the new support. That being said, Fidralis, if every other deck gets better and Cool Tune doesn't get better because it can't play the Fallen and the Virtuous, I guess it could, but it'd be really bad. It can't play Fallen and the Virtuous, and it's missing one of its key components in Fidralis, just completely removing one of its best pieces of interaction and one of its best hand traps. There's not a whole lot that this deck is going to be... like, there's not a reason to play it, I would say, as opposed to some of the other top decks. It's not really like a good meta call. It just gets eaten alive by a lot of those other decks, right? Like, it's got a bad Sky Striker matchup. It's got a bad Branded matchup because they just have a bunch of power spells and can just play through hand traps like they're nothing, or just entirely ignore a bunch of hand traps because they just don't matter, right? For example, against like Branded, it's like, cool, no one cares about Ash Blossom. They're not trying to resolve Branded Fusion. They're doing like 10,000 other things and generating advantage like in the end phase. And it's like, nice Valor. It'd be a shame if it did anything, you know? So there's a bunch of instances like that where it's like, you could theoretically curate your deck list to be able to beat something like the Branded deck lists, but I don't necessarily think that this is a good meta call. That being said, it's still Cool Tune. It still can just kind of OTK or FTK you, kind of locking you out of the game. But it is susceptible, I think, significantly more without Vidralis. Hasn't been announced yet, so I'm going to act as if it's not coming to the game. And if that is the case, it's tier 2. That's pretty much it. Draco Canine. Interesting. Cool. Pure Mitsu. Without the Archfiend stuff, I don't think it's really worth playing. I'm going to put it in tier 3. I think you can climb. I think it's a nice, like, engine to play, and I think it's relatively strong, but it's just, like, worse branded or worse Draco Tail. Ryzeal Mitsu, I think, is a little bit better, as it can just kind of FTK the opponent going first. So I still think that it's relatively strong, even without Cross. I don't know if I'll put it in tier 2. We'll put it in tier 3 for now. Onomart Ryzeal is still relatively good. All of their, like, old metas still relatively good. Not insane, but, like, again, going first, it can eat a whole bunch of hand traps and keep trucking and end on a still relatively strong end board. So, I don't think it's, like, unplayable. Elf Note Fiendsmith. Without Baron being banned, which, nice alliteration, this deck is still really crazy. That's it. It's a Baron deck. It makes Baron most effectively. It can also go into the Fiendsmith stuff. It's kind of silly. White Forest is fine. It's rogue. It exists. It's not phenomenal, but it's not the worst. DDD, not really worth playing. Dice do a bunch of different hand traps like Droll and Vua and Maxi and what have you. Right. It can play through things like Nibiru, which is nice, but it doesn't necessarily play well into Cool Tune with the myriad of hand traps. It doesn't really play well into the turn 0 plays of Canine or Draco Tail, or mostly those two. Doesn't necessarily play well even after establishing a board into something like Branded, which has a ton of options available to it, or Draco Tail, or Vanquishal, or Canine, or Mitsu, or stuff of that nature. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's worth picking up to climb specifically. If you make it work, good on you. Exo Sister is kind of an anti-meta deck, so I'm gonna put it in Rogue. It can kind of beat Branded Draco Tail and Cool Tune, so I think it has like some good matchups there, but it is pretty heavily reliant on going first, and going second is a nightmare. Just doesn't have pretty much any plays going second. You are heavily reliant on non-engine to assist you going second. Mermail still has the barrier statue for some reason, so you can kind of steal games. I don't think it's a terrible option for climbing. Branded's okay. I'll put Branded in tier 2. I'm hesitant to put it in tier 2 because I think almost everyone is going to be expecting this deck. But I still think that Branded having Fallen in the Virtuous and Walbaz gives a lot of oomph and like big pushes, both going first and going second. But it does require you to actually play out the game. And I know Master Duel players are terrible at the game and therefore are unlikely to be able to understand the idea of turn 3. So I don't necessarily think that this will be a great deck. That's pretty much it. Earth Machine. I don't know, RB kind of does stuff for like OTKs. This is not a real deck. Either you're playing Fiendsmith or you're not. You're not playing Elf Note. Memento I think is actually still relatively decent. I think I undersold this last time I played it. Man still exists. I'm not ordering these. These just kind of exist in Rogue. Man still has the ability to play like a whole bunch of Dominus cards and hand trap the opponent to death, which is kind of funny. But it also can, you know, activate Super Poly against Cool Tune or against Branded and kind of eat their board very effectively, right? It still has the field spell, it still has Man, it can still do all of that combo pretty efficiently. You know, obviously doesn't play into pretty much any hand traps, right? I guess it kind of plays into like Ash. You know, it can kind of be beaten by Ash. But a lot of the other stuff it just doesn't care about. Sky Striker, I think it gets substantially better, but not that much better. The thing is, while yes, being able to like go second and like play Fallen and the Virtuous and all of that jazz does matter, I don't think it has the oomph, even with the ability to go second, that it kind of needs, right? Like it still gets hurt by a lot of common hand traps. Like Ghost Bell is really common, and that really can hinder this deck, right? So there's that. Called By still exists, which can just kind of auto-win the game against this deck. That being said, I still think it's good. Maybe I'd put it in like, maybe it's like bottom of tier 2 for climbing, just because Fallen and the Virtuous and the Radiant Typhoon cards giving you access to removal and interaction against a wide array of different decks can be pretty nice. So there's that. It's either like top of tier 3, bottom of tier 2, somewhere around there. Doom's End, not really a deck right now. Radiant Typhoon is actually pretty good right now as well. Probably not tier 2. I think Sky Striker is just a little bit better than it. But it is very similar in that nature of like a bunch of big power spells being activated to kind of rip apart the opponent's board. But then you also have things like Phonix and Vararoon to give additional disruption. That's pretty okay. I don't think it's great going second, but it can work going second. It's not like Sky Striker where it's almost kind of better going second, but it is, it's decently okay. Book of Moon does get better, notably, so potentially, or not Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse gets better, so potentially that could be better as well. If we get Forbidden Crown, both of these decks kind of rise in priority as well, but not by a ton. I don't think Forbidden Crown's like phenomenal in Radiant Typhoon. It's good, but it's not like crazy. Lunalight is kind of just a steal the win kind of deck. Either they have the out or they don't. That's kind of it. Sometimes you just immediately win the game. Sometimes you don't have anything and you die. Yeah, it's just kind of like a check. Does your opponent have the out? If they do, good game. If they don't, good game. Predator Plant's not real. Eneacraft will probably do things, but I still think that it's worse than... Is it worse than Odeon? It's around the same spot as Odeon, so there's that. I said I wasn't ordering these, and then I ordered them. Anyway. Malice. Malice is probably top of tier 2. Malice gets better because you can add the... I guess you don't really want to add the Fallen and the Virtuous stuff. But like playing the power spells, playing the big wombo combo shenanigans, it's just really strong into the metagame right now. And I think the branded stuff and the Draco Tail stuff and all of that jazz is still weak to things like Impulse, right? They can also play Shifter if they really wanted to, though I probably wouldn't. But yeah, Malice is still Malice. It does Malice things. It's always going to be good. Unless they actually remove like 10,000 cards from Cybers. Gem Knights exists. Actually, didn't they limit Herald? Am I going crazy? Isn't Herald limited now? Or am I actually insane? Okay, I'm not crazy. Yeah, with Herald of Orange Light Band, I'm gonna put it in Rogue. I don't think it's great. Same thing with the magnet stuff. I think theoretically you could do a bunch with it, but realistically, there's not a ton of great options. You're very heavily reliant on going first with the magnet cards, just because of the power level of going first boards right now in Master Duel. You can't really play into them efficiently with the new magnet cards, and you do require a large amount of engine to work. Like, you can't just play a whole bunch of non-engine. So I think for the most part, the magnet cards are pretty heavily reliant on going first and winning the game. And if they don't do that, they're pretty weak. And even then, they're still susceptible to a bunch of hand traps and breaking and all sorts of shenanigans like that. So I don't even think that if you were to go first, you're guaranteed the win. And to be fair, the same going second, but I think you're much weaker than even something like Lunalight. Fire King, not really playable right now. I don't think there's been any of the new... There isn't new support for this, so yeah. Yummy, I think, is actually also extremely strong. Probably just better. I wouldn't play the Fiendsmith variant. I would probably play like Yummy Snake Eyes or something of that nature. But yeah, Yummy Fiendsmith, Yummy Snake Eyes, Yummy in general, even with the Sky Striker cards. Yummy's still Yummy. I mean, they didn't really limit any of the potential of this deck, and the deck's still really, really strong. I don't think it's quite to the level of Draco Tail, but it's up there. So there's that. Definitely better than Malice, but not really better than those two. The new Fairy Tail stuff we don't have, and then the Archmage stuff also exists, and I think is relatively good alongside the K9 cards. But that's almost entirely because of the K9 cards being able to either eat hand traps or punish the opponent for hand trapping you. So there's that. However, it's still good, right? Maybe I'm overselling it. Maybe I'm not. I think it is mostly just that the K9 cards exist, and being able to play them in this deck in particular is kind of like an anti-meta cheese, for lack of a better term. Playing something to specifically beat the metagame as opposed to playing into the metagame, and I think that is a big boon for that deck. How about rank 4 pile with Ratpier? What rank 4 pile? Like, Onomat? With Ratpier? I don't see why you wouldn't just play the Ryzeal stuff. As far as, like, Zoodiac would go, I'd probably maybe put it in Rogue. I don't think it's great, but being able to, like, immediately make a Zeus without activating anything could be useful. I just don't think it's great, because there are so many decks that just don't care whether or not you're not activating a thing to make Zeus. They still have something to do to interact with you and prevent the Zeus from even hitting the board, right? Like, Draco Tail has 10 million things that they could potentially do. Same with Branded, same with Vanquish Soul, same with Yummy. I guess Yummy less so. So there's that. Like, Yummy could be punished by that. But I don't think Yummy's necessarily going to be a common occurrence. Malice doesn't care. Sky Striker doesn't care. Like, a lot of those decks just like, oh cool, what are you going to do, Zeus me? Who cares? As far as other things go, you know, you can make Top Draco, which is nice going first, but not the end-all be-all. And adding that in addition to a Trident is okay. If you add that to the Tri Brigade stuff, it could potentially do stuff, and does have some solid interactions and can beat opponents, but I don't necessarily think that it's fantastic for you. I think you're probably going to be... I think it would be a hard time, right? Like, if I were to rank these from, like, easiest to hardest, or, like, easy time, hard time to climb, I think Rogue is, like, you're gonna have a hard time. This is, like, easy climb, relatively easy, solid choice, hard time. And then it's like, why try? That's where my mind is kind of at with this. And I think you would probably have a hard time climbing, especially towards the end, at, like, the top of Master with Zoodiac. Unless you're just, like, stealing games. But I don't necessarily think it would be a quality decision. I think it kind of be dependent a little bit more on luck. Yeah, Infinito is kind of crazy for Archmage. If we get new Power Patron stuff, like Doom's Egg becomes crazy. Elf Note's already crazy because of Baron. And then, like, Archmage is also crazy. Oh, I don't have Kashtira on here. Kashtira I'd also probably put into a Rogue. So, like, the new Zoodiac stuff. Let me see if I have, like, a Zoodiac. There we go. And then, do I have... Kashtira I'd probably put... Yeah, I think Kashtira is actually pretty good for climbing. I think you can get away with it. 25 hand traps and 15 zoos? Ah, Cool Tune, but worse. That's literally just Cool Tune, but worse. Hate to say it to you. that being said, that is an option. Like, it's not like it's not gonna work, per se. Cash Zodiac, the Hidden Sauce. You could do that. That also wouldn't be terrible, right? Because, like, you could lock yourself into Xyz, and you play the Caches first, and then go into the Zodiacs. And they both kind of help each other going second as engine, because it's like the Zodiacs can go into Zeus, and then the Kashiras are Kashiras, which are just generically powerful going second, specifically Fenris. With all the Charmies, because they are force. True! I think there is stuff that you could do with the Zodiac stuff. I just don't think it necessarily be fantastic. It would be good. Not great. Are there any other decks I'm missing? RB is on here with, like, Earth Machine. What else is currently even seeing play? What are people playing? Orchist. I'm missing Orchist. Probably tier 3, top of tier 3. Probably somewhere around there. Somewhere around Sky Strikers. Potential. Elf Knight. With the new branded support, I don't think it's worth playing. Elf Note specifically has to go into a 7. So if you're using, like, Walbaz, you cut yourself off of half of your engine. So I don't really think it's worth it there. Unless you just don't activate the Walbaz effect. And if you're playing the Fallen and the Virtuous, sure, you could. But, like, everyone else is also going to be able to do that, so I don't necessarily think that changes much for Elf Note. It kind of works in the TCG. The TCG also doesn't have Baron, which is important. Because you could also just make Baron. Right? Like, if we look at the TCG, let's look at Elf now. Right. They are playing Ecclesia. They are playing the Walbaz. But they also have Phydraulis, which we don't. They also have the Power Patrons, which we don't. And they also don't have Baron, which we do. Right. So there is kind of a give and take there, in the sense that if you do play the Elf Notes, one of the big advantages of playing them is that you get to go into Baron. Right? But if you don't have Baron, you don't necessarily need to go into Baron. Or, you know, you don't need to go into the extra deck. So you can rely on these guys, and then you can go into, like, an 8. You can go into, like, Excel Synchro, or you can go into the Ecclesia, or you can go into a bunch of these other things, right? And still kind of get that advantage off of it. I don't necessarily think it's a fantastic idea, but you could, right? I think just playing the Fiendsmith stuff is better, right? Being able to go into Armades, into full Fiendsmith line, alongside Baron, it's just stronger, right? But again, we also just don't have the new Power Patrons to give you additional things. We don't have Phydraulis to give you additional things. You don't have those, like, additional pieces to the engine and to the end board. Theoretically, I would put it probably at the same point, right? It's a very similar style of deck, just kind of a microcosm. That's not the right word. Like, a micro difference. They're similar, very similar. That's pretty much it. Harmonian X-Pack? I don't know. Yeah, I put it here, around tier 2. I think it's worse than Cool Tune, but probably better than, at least for climbing. I think just having, like, such a solid game plan going first, and being like, I basically get to win the game going first, guaranteed, through, like, a bunch of different interactions, I think is a really nice upside for Master Duel decks, because you just don't know what you're going to play against, and having just, like, an auto win button is pretty good. It's why Yummy's so high. It's why Malice is so high. It's why Cool Tune is so, or Elf Note is so high. Like, all of these are just big combo decks that just kind of hit a button and win the game, right? Even Orcust is like that. Obviously, I don't think they're as good for tournaments when people can like side deck for you, or when people can like plan a matchup for you, or force you to go second or something like that. Like, that can really break a lot of these decks. But in a best of one, yeah, dude, you don't even have to necessarily be consistent as long as you get to do the combo. It's like, yeah. Nah, we're not gonna get the Rescue Ace link, huh? Not a chance. Oh yeah, the new Synchro Trap also helps. Road of the King. Let me see if we can even find it. I don't know if Cool Tune is even playing it anymore. Yeah, it doesn't look like they are. I don't even think anyone is. What is it? Synchro Emergency? This one! This card's crazy. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can activate this card from your hand, special summon a monster from your hand, but negate its effects. Then, if your opponent controls a monster, special summon from the extra deck, you can special summon a Synchron monster from your deck, and then until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for Synchro monsters, and you can banish it to Synchro summon. It's interesting. I wish Rescue Ace was better. That's such a fun deck, dude. Such a fun deck. Is there anything else I'm missing? Hero, Rogue, if anything. Probably everything else. Cool Tune, Sky Striker, Elf Note, Radiant, Typhoon, Magnet, Echo, Ego, Orcust, Archmage, Blue Eyes. Oh, I totally forget about Blue Eyes every time. Blue Eyes! I don't know. Fucking everything else. Dude, Blue Eyes has fallen off so hard and so fast. Used to be tier 1, and then they printed the Josh cards, and it died. It exploded. I don't know. The Blue Eyes cards could do things, but it's so susceptible to just, like, everything. Its end board is strong because of Crimson Dragon. You can even play the Magia line, which also gives you additional disruption going first. But it breaks you, like, 90% of your games. Because Konami hates you specifically. Heck of Hands. I forgot about Heck Your Hands? Rogue. Heck of Hands is like the quintessential anti-meta deck, or just like cheese deck. And I think if you're playing a ladder format, playing just kind of cheese and weird jank does work. So you can kind of get away with just playing like, I'm gonna steal your shit. And it does work. I don't think it's fantastic, but it does work. We talked about Gem Knights. We talked about... Yeah, I didn't talk about Hero. I'll put Hero on here. Hero! Stratos. Not that one. Not that one. Do I really just not have a hero monster? Saved? That's crazy. Where my boy Stratos at? Am I going crazy? Isn't there a Stratos mate? Am I missing it? Oh, here we go. E-Hero. He's gonna stand out. It's gonna be great. K9 Pure? That's a good question. I'd probably put it in tier 2. That's not the right one. No, I don't think we're getting Magistus this pack. Drake of Tail branded is significantly better than branded. With the new branded support, Draco Tail is a good deck with good cards, and branded is wholly reliant on the new support. If you are just looking at the two archetypes, branded uses the new support better, but Draco Tail already is a better deck, and therefore, it being able to use the support makes it already a better deck, right? Like, branded was rogue at best prior to the new support, and while it does jump several tiers and becomes a viable strategy pure without the branded stuff, or without the Draco Tail stuff, the Draco Tail stuff was already a top tier strategy, right? Like, it was already a top 5, top 6 deck. I said top 3, I may be shilling, but at the very least, it was a top strategy without the branded stuff. You add in the branded stuff, and all of a sudden it gets way better. So, yeah, Draco Tail. The answer is Draco Tail. Secretarion kills branded too. True. True. Oh yeah, Draco Tail also has the ability to go into Verte, which is something. What else? Talked about Raziel. Dark Magician's not real, it can't hurt you. This is basically just like Spellcaster Pile, which I think is like technically an archetype. I guess we could talk about Dark Magician. Dark Magician. Do I have... I don't have a Dragoon. Do I have... Demon? DM? Don't think it's that one. I really don't have a Dark Magician. That's crazy. Alright, well, whatever. I found one. I found a Dark Magician. He's rogue. No, he's not. I was like, ah, yes, Spellcaster Turbo. And I don't remember how terrible it actually is. Maxi's at 1. If it gets recycled, happens. That's literally just an unlucky moment. Chimera is just worse Hecka hands. Cyber Dragon's not real. Branded. Mermail we already talked about. Crystron K9 is basically just K9, but worse. Elf Note Cool Tune, I don't see the point in playing the Cool Tune cards in the Elf Note stuff. Same thing with the White Forest stuff. Makonko's not real, it can't hurt you. Snake Eye Yummy is actually pretty good, but we already talked about Yummy in general. How many Yummy variants are there? 1, 2, 3. Cash, we talked about Synchrons. I guess we could talk about Synchrons. There's not much to talk about. Synchrons, like, exist. They're kind of just another bullshit combo deck that ends on 10 million interactions, and either you stop them with a well-placed hand trap, or it didn't matter how many hand traps you had, they could play through it, and then they FTK you. So, or they go second and they explode. You're right. Yeah, no. They're not good. Megalith? Is Megalith even on here? Do people play Megalith? Sprite! Tier! I'll talk about Megalith. Oh, wrong one. Megalith. Megalith kind of sucks. Hate to say it. I wish I could put it higher, but like Megalith has so many issues. It dies to Droll, it dies to Ash sometimes, it dies to itself due to bricking, it gets stopped by like Purge and Impulse and Imperm and Valor, and it gets hurt by Fua and Maxi, and it really does just struggle to like everything. It has good plays. It has things that are kind of crazy. You know, Bethor, the entire field is pretty strong, right? And you can back it up with now an Omni Negate, and you can make it so that the opponent can't interact with you, theoretically, right? But that requires either having more bricks in your deck in order to guarantee that your opponent can't interact with you with the Plura, the new big level 12, or it requires you to already search a thing and kind of play into those hand traps already before you can stop your opponent, right? So either way, it's kind of like a lose-lose situation of, well, you're going to get interacted with anyway, or you're going to break. I do wish the deck was better. It is very cool. It's a cool Magistus Megalith deck that made Master 1. Sure. Where? Do. Wrong one. Wrong button. Concept. Okay. Mitsu Megalith. I mean, we already talked about Mitsu. Here's the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, I should say Master Duel in particular. I think you can get to Master 1 with pretty much anything. Like, I don't even think the decks down here are excluded from Master 1. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game, and a lot of it is luck. Not all of it, right? You can kind of just find like a niche where people aren't prepared for and end up winning, right? But generally speaking, sometimes you get lucky enough to just play anything and win. So, does that make it easy? No, not necessarily. But you can. Anea Craft and Rogue. Yes. Where would you put it? Megalith is not real, apparently. Is it on a spicy win streak or something? Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, getting to Master 5 is a cakewalk, in my opinion. But tried getting Heka Hands to Master 1, didn't go well. I didn't say it'd necessarily be easy, but you could. I could probably have gotten Heka Hands to Master 1. I ended up climbing with it. I didn't play it a ton, but I think had I just played Heka Hands, I probably could have, if I really wanted to. I could probably get Sprite there. I could probably get Tri-Brigade there. Those are decks that I'm more familiar with, but it's like, yeah, if I really wanted to, I could probably play like a deck that I'm passionate about and get it to Master 1, right? It would take a lot of time, and it would take a lot more effort than I'm willing to put in to just playing one deck and one-tricking it. But, like, yeah, you can get there with anything. First time Branded isn't on Rogue. Turns out the Branded cards are actually pretty good now. Turns out White Albaz and Fallen of the Virtuous is really powerful. When your game plan is not hindered by the player base, it's actually pretty good. Anyway. I think there's a very clear delineation from, like, the top two and, like, everything else. I think, you know, tier 2 and 3 kind of blur. Like, I think Orcus could be tier 2. I think Sky Striker could go all the way down to tier 3 and everything in between. You know, I could hear, like, White Forest or Lunalight maybe, or Gem Knights or something like that going up to tier 3. You know, like, there are things that are more fluid within this tier list, except for this. I think this is far and away, if you want to climb, play these two decks. That, I think, is the big thing. Just joined? Welcome. I have a feeling you're going to say something about the tier list. Vanquish Soul K9 is so bricky. What Vanquish Soul K9 are you playing? That's a genuine question, because I have not had that issue. Top players have not had that issue. So I don't know where you're coming from with this. I hear this sentiment so much, and I never understand it. Because I have never had this. Top players have never had this. It's just like the bad players who do this. Who are like, it's bad because I brick. It's like, no, you just have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Sorry, I'm calling you out. But it's not you specifically. I hear it a bunch. Like, what are you talking about? I get a lot of only K9 hands. That's a fantastic hand. What are you talking about? I get a lot of Vanquish Soul hands. That's a fantastic hand. I get a lot of a myriad of different hands. It's a fantastic hand. You're not going to have a hand that is consistently going to be able to play through every hand trap, as is the case with every deck, right? And there are some hands where you literally can't do anything, as is the case with a lot of decks. But it's not any more inconsistent than, like, Pool Tune. Or Malice. Or Sky Striker. Bad example. Sky Striker gets preferential treatment because they are a favorite child of Konami. They get whatever they want. You just be like, Konami, please put 3 Engage in my hand and 0 Trolls in the opponent's. And they will do that. To be honest, I see them brick a lot. Die to Imperm, summon Rock and pass. When? Who is playing? Is, like, in Bronze? Here's the thing. Vanquish Soul K9 players in Master Duel are also bad at Vanquish Soul K9. So they're going to look way worse. That being said, it's not a bad deck. Not by a long shot. Are you maxing out on the VS cards you need to be maxing out on? Yes. Just like you should be maxing out on the Vanquish Soul, or the K9 cards. Right? Dude, I have pure K9 in tier 2. I'm only in Masters rated duels most of the time. Right, so like the silver players? Brother, anyone can get to Master tier. That's like... Yeah. Wow, crazy. RB got a B tier 3? Why? What does RB do? I currently have him in Rogue. This is my stand-in for RB because I didn't want to find RB. I don't really see a reason to put them in tier 3. I don't think they necessarily have an advantage against anything or into anything. So when are we getting the new train sport? Sorry, this one's my RB. It's Earth Machine. And what else are you gonna play? You gonna play actual trains? No, it's just RB. Is Crystron a sleeper pick? No. I think Crystron is just worse than playing just pure K9 right now. I think pure K9 is a nice anti-meta strat that, like, eats a whole bunch of the new... Maybe not a whole bunch, but, like, is pretty effective into a bunch of the new decks, right? Like, Ripper in general is just a powerhouse against so many cards in the metagame. That's like, yeah. Just make Ripper. Kill the opponent. You can end on Spell Canceller. But that's also a more bricky version of just K9. With less consistent access to, like, the actual powerhouse cards of K9 that really make it stand out. It also dies more to common hand traps, which is a big no-no. Because of the common Cool Tune, Elf Note strategy of just, like, hand trapping you to death. I guess Elf Note doesn't necessarily... No, Elf Note does play a fair amount of hand traps. Malice too. I think hand traps are pretty common, so playing a deck that doesn't play well into a bunch of hand traps is not great. Is Zoodiac doing anything interesting with Broad Bullback? No. Not really. You could play it in Lunalight, which I don't know if you would. I guess, like, theoretically, it's a way to search Fractal, but I don't think you want that. Like, you don't need extra normals. You have some really stellar normals anyway, and you want to use your normals on those as opposed to anything else, right? And it's not like you're inconsistent. Like, Lunalight is a fairly consistent deck. It's not like it's just ending up with a whole bunch of dead hands where it just doesn't get to play the game. A lot of the issue with Lunalight is getting stopped by, like, individual hand traps, right? Like, sometimes you die to an Ash, and I don't think the Zoodiacs would help with that. Maybe they would. We'll have to see. You can search Sven, yeah. Again, that's not really anything all too interesting. I don't see why you would not just play, you know, the search spell that Radiant Typhoon has. I don't know. There might be some, like, slop variant of Zoodiac that just uses Broad Bull as, like, a search spell to search some other deck, you know, like Radiant Typhoon. But I don't know why you would do that as opposed to just playing Radiant Typhoon cards. Like, sure, you could make Utopic, but then you miss out on the powerful quick plays, especially with Fallen and the Virtuous coming out as well. Like, maybe if we didn't have Fallen and the Virtuous, I'd be like, yes, that would be a good way to make use of Radiant Typhoon. It's like, you use it as an engine in Zoodiac, and you play, like, Zoodiac Radiant Typhoon. Or you could just play Fallen and the Virtuous, which is just better. Droll just kills Lunalight? Theoretically. I don't think it necessarily does. I think there's a lot of ways that Lunalight can play through a Droll and still end on a Liger Dancer, right? But yes, a Droll can substantially reduce the power of Lunalight. The rank 4 Beast Warrior that mills 5. What is this card that you are talking about? What? Am I going crazy? Well, what are we talking about? Kagetsuchi. Huh? The Bujin? What the fuck are we doing with this? If I see someone utilizing Broad Bowl and Rapier to summon Kagetsuchi to mill for tier, I'm gonna be so confused. That sounds like the worst, most convoluted bullshit that I've ever seen. It's like, why would we not just play like Gem Knights at that point? Or literally anything else. This is awful. Ah, it sends the top 5. Wow, crazy. Do you know what else does? Where is it? Fiendsmith. 2 6s. Pilgrim Knight. Nightmare Program. Pilgrim Reaper. That guy. He does the same thing. But better. Because you also get the Fiendsmith stuff. Mill 5 make you topic? With what? Yeah, I guess. Sure. Go for it. Because Sengajin is a Beast Warrior. True. Do you know what else is a Beast Warrior? Fucking nothing in tier. Pilgrim is bad when branded support comes out, gives them too much. Then why would you be milling? Why are we playing tier? Zoo gives you all Kagetsuchi, Zombie Vamp, and Pilgrim Reaper. Yeah? And also terrible mills, which defeats the purpose. Then you're stuck with a whole bunch of dead cards that don't do anything when they're sent to the graveyard. You know what? If it works, sure. I'll be shocked. But I really don't see a purpose. Like, yeah. Also, hold on. Could be normal summoners. Okay. I can never remember if they have a level restriction on them. Because I know there's a lot of like searchers that are like level 4 or lower. And I can never remember which ones say what. Broad Bowl doesn't have that. It does have the normal summoner set restriction. But it doesn't have anything else. We'll see. Do I think this adds anything to tier? No, not necessarily. Because like the Gem Knights did the exact same thing, which is play a crazy turn 1 end board with a whole bunch of interaction, adding the tiers in as a way to, I don't know, add additional mills or something like that. And like the Zodiacs could theoretically do the same thing. Are they going to? Maybe. Is there a point to that? Maybe. Like, yeah, Rapier's a crazy card and does allow you to do stuff, right? But so many other decks would just rather normal summon something else. Or, like, don't want the extra deck space for the Zodiac engine. Or don't need to go into rank 4s. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could do something in like a rank 4 turbo. But at that point, like, okay, why would you not just play the Ryzeals or the Onomats, which do the same, but better? I don't know. Maybe you could use Rapier as like a normal summon engine in that. Or you could use it as a normal summon engine in tier. Or something like that. But like, okay. Only need 3 Rat and 3 Barrage. Right, you need 3 Rat and 3 Barrage. That's a lot of cards. And all of the extra deck space. That's a whole bunch of cards that don't do shit. And in tier, that matters. Because then you're also potentially cutting out, like, extra deck monsters that you absolutely want. Tier is one of the most extra deck hungry decks. Like, you do need a lot of extra deck monsters for tier. Let me see if I can find this tier build. Yeah. You what? Cut this one? And this one? Play the Zoodiac line? Then you're missing out on a whole bunch of crap for the Zoodiac stuff that kind of makes it useless and pointless. But then again, it's like, okay, or you could just play Brilliant Fusion in the Gem Knights. You gonna cut the Gem Knights? Maybe? What does Gem Knights look like? I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, Zoodiac could be used as like a slop dot deck. Zoodiac, the Fiendsmith, the Millennium stuff could just be like Snake Eyes, right? Where it's like, oh, if I normal summon a Rat here, I do all of this other jank. That could be something. That sounds better than tier. Oh yes, I'm gonna mill cards. No. A lot of it sounds like jank, is what I will say. It sounds very similar to like Magnet, where it's like, but you could do all of this stuff with Block Dragon, and with this, and with that, and also you die to every hand trap under the sun. It's like, damn, true. Fallen the Virtuous Odion to replace Primite Odion? That doesn't sound terrible. I don't know if it'd be better per se, because one of the advantages that the Primite gets is that it can play Baron. But yeah. Cash and Zoo. See, now we're talking. But we already said that. But yeah. That's something that makes sense. I don't know. Cool. Well, I want to play Genesis. So, we've basically done everything else. At this point, I just want to play the Dark Lord deck that we were playing earlier. What's up, Jane? How's it going? So we're going to play a few games of this. Maybe just one. What would Fallen in the Virtuous add to Odion? Recursive removal. Inea Craft any good? No. Well, define good. It's not bad. That's what I will say. I think that's the best thing that I can say about it, is that it wouldn't be bad. Glad you're doing all right, Jane. I wish I could do something in queue, but I just have to, like, sit here. Would I play Master Duel and suffer a bit? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Isn't Memento pointed in Genesis? Like, randomly? I also saw a line where you could search Heavenly Prison. Make rabbit set Quantum Cat. Cat's a winged beast. Oh, disgusting. Oh, I hate it here. That's awesome. Quite the queue time? Yeah. Yeah, we'll be here for a while. True! The last ban list surely did fix it. I love adding more shit to the shit-filled slop that is Master Wolf. That's my favorite. There are like 50 cards that should be banned, and yet they're not. Ban list, more like free list. Yeah, truly an update of all time. Fleur-de-lis animation when? This week. New Fleur-de-lis animation. Do you think we're getting the Fleur-de-lis alt art? Do you think we're getting the Ecclesia alt art? How many alt arts do you think we're getting? I mean, it's a branded update, so they could do like 30. I'm in silver, by the way. Apparently, this is not the place to play Junior Sis. Tragic. You'll play the banned cards from Coke Performance. You'll like it. When's the next big celebration? February? March, I guess? The anniversary, right? I guess post-Worlds. So in, like, October? Alt Alabaz and Cartesia, which means Alt Aluber and Kit. We're probably also getting... We might get the new Mirror Jade art. Maybe Fleur-de-lis. Maybe we get a new field. I don't know. They could give us a whole bunch. Surprised Isold isn't doing jack. Yeah, me too. But you know what? The thing is, it's not doing jack because there's so much shit to do. Why would you play Isold when you could play the 10 other FTK enablers that exist? Or Baron, which is also basically an FTK. Yeah, Fleur-de-lis is part of the Bastille lore. Kind of. Don't quote me on that. I have no idea what's going on with branded lore. I could not tell you. Does Isold do something in Doom's Ed? I don't think so. Because most of the monsters are like dragons. They're like dragons and machines? Are there warriors in Doom's Ed? I actually have no idea. I cannot do that while in queue. Nasty. What am I typing? Dragon, Machina, Dragon, Machina, Machina, yeah. They're weird typings. You would think they would be warriors, right? Like, you would think... I would think Doom's Ed would be warriors. But they were like, no. Machines and dragons. Like, what? Huh? Why dragons? I don't fucking know. Machines I can kind of understand. Dragons? Because dragons. Oh, it's because I was on the wrong screen there, Jane. My bad. I accidentally silenced them. I silenced them. Excuse me. What is Doom's Ed meant to be? It is basically BDSM. I'm only slightly joking. Yes, Rocket absolutely should be machines instead of dragons. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we had Link machines instead of Link or Dragon Link? I guess Machine Link as opposed to Dragon Link. Okay, apparently no one wants to play Genesis. That's crazy. Imagine not wanting to play Genesis. Tragic. Hate to see it. Let me see. Am I in? Nope, of course not. Oh no. It's still not. I'm still not in a game. That's crazy. Hold on. Let me do this. I'm pulling up Genesis on a different client because apparently, Omega is not the place to be. Oh, 4-4, not fan. What do you mean? I was just here. What do you mean? I hate you. I don't know what happened. Why not Master Duel? I just don't want to. Is Genesis good? Yes. Okay, so I actually made a video about this today, hence why I'm playing it. Genesis has actually gotten... Oh! Scissors! Let's go! Chat, we're alive. Chat, let's go. We're playing a game. What was I saying? Genesis has gotten substantially better from what it previously was in... like, when it first came out. I think it has clearly etched out a niche as to an alternate way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not my favorite, but it is different. It is a new thing to do. It's a new way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think it works really well. For specifically what it's trying to be. I mean, I'm playing against fucking Crystal Beast. So, I think it's interesting. I think it's a nice break every now and then from, like, regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Or from, like, Master Duel. So, there's that. It's definitely more chill. Rush Duel's in the West Wind. True. Farfaview was boycotted the format. Tragically, yeah, pretty much. I think I just negate this. I think this is the negate. Oh? Grave. Not back row. Oh, because we can reborn it. Did I see them grab that? Am I stupid? Do I care? No, not really. Carbuncle, Guy, Reborn. Hello? No. Okay. So I'm not crazy. I'm not stupid. We just ban Droll? No. Why would we want Droll banned? Are any of these cards pointed? I'm wondering if this is pointed. Not that. That's not what this is. Hello? I would imagine the new Dark Lord support is coming to Master Duel. I'd be shocked if it didn't. Is this just Doomzed? Ow. Doomzed. There are no pens? True! But they do have Droll. Hello. I would like to... No, stop. That's not the card. Can I... I actually do need to read this card. I need to read its material. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay. You got it. Okay. Let's see. Twin would be pretty good here. I can't really see anything else being all too useful. Let's do that. Yeah. What was printed? A very hand of all time. That's true. Okay, I'm gonna start my drawing. Okay, that's a pretty good draw. Drawing Nest in there is actually pretty good. This guy, we're gonna give you... I guess this guy. Grab... There's not a good option. I guess Morningstar. Here you go. Here's the guy. We will go Fairy Cheer Grill. Activate effect. Detach the guy. Draw a card. Great draw. Go Nastin here. You. Nastin. Effect. Add. Effect, add contact, fusion. Sure. Effect of fusion. This guy. You and here. Effect. Contact. And sanctified. Oh, I should grab the card destruction. Yeah, I'm stupid. What of it? Cool. We'll go like this. Search. This one. Contact. Bring back this guy. And I could fuse here. 1, 2, 3 into El Primero. El Primero, bring back the guy. It's like terrible. Fuse here. El Primero. Use. You. No. Hand. Grave. Fuse. Why did I not use their field? Because I'm stupid and I forgot that I could do that. Okay, pass it. Yup. 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 That's an insane card. What a crazy card. Mm-hmm. I forget what this card does. And I'm never gonna know. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, go for it. I forget what it does. Summons a guy. Right. And searches a guy. Right. Of course. Yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure. Yep. Absolutely. Uh-huh. Z summon. Into Doomzed. Doomzed notably doesn't target, so that's fine. Uh-huh. Griflario. Sure. You spend points on Zeus? That'd be crazy. Equip. Got it. If only I could read the cards! Dude, I hate it here. I can't read them. Dude, Can I? Thank you. Fucking hell. Sure. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I have no idea what was happening there. Don't know why they scooped. Also, imagine being able to read. Heaven forbid. I'm gonna cut out you. And you. And you. I'm gonna throw in the Ultimate Slayers. I don't know how good Ash is. Play it nonetheless. Also gonna cut a Herald. Works like green. Works like. Do that. Nurse Burn is a thing in Genesis? That's crazy. I know generally how Doomzed works, and I know generally how, like, what each card does. But it's like, I want to read it and refresh myself on what exactly it does. Passing! Wait, that's crazy. Okay. For sure. For sure, for sure. Okay. Crazy. What's wrong? Herald. Grab a... That's how good my hand is. Okay. Go like this. I'll grab Contact. Okay. Contact. This guy. Here. Contact. Search. Good. Ask. Okay. Nastin. You. Burn. Okay. Contact. Uh-huh. This guy. Uh-huh. Here we go. Uh-huh. And now they have a thing. And I could go fusing here. Ain't that funny? First things first, let's do this. 1, 2. Here. El Primero. I have like Nibby written. Ash? Ogre? They have something. Fairly certain they have something. Okay, we'll special this guy. Summon 2 tokens. Uh-huh. Token. Token. Go. Smell. What I hit? Not much. Okay. Heavy ball. El Primero. You. Here. El Primero. Sure. Okay. Combat. Attack. Okay. Attack. Did you just die here? That's crazy. Hell yeah. Dark Lords! 10 minutes for that match. Let's go! I love that my opponent just bricked the last game. My favorite. What did they have? Did they have Fua? Did they have Nib? Did they just not want to play? What happened? What happened? You hate to see it. You hate to see it, bud. Oh, hello. Do. Hold on, I am currently building this same deck in another simulator, so that hopefully it goes faster. But we shall see. Ooh, wow, that's crazy. So fast. Wait, that only took like 5 seconds. I'd love to go first. What a hand. Truly a hand of all time. We'll set this one. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Wow. Actually just tragic. This card? That's not... What does this card say? What does this card say? Let me read my own fucking card! I hate it here. Target a monster you control. A card on the field. Okay. I really don't want to set this so that I can draw cards. I'll just pass. I'll just pass on that. You're. Sure. Crown. Who the fuck plays Heavy Storm? Cringe. You draw the quick play? Was that the monster summon? Fuck. What's the spell trap? Yay, Chimera. God, I hate Chimera. Run out, you long Chimera. that a monster? Is that the monster one? Hello? 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 Spell threat. Okay. Well, that also probably. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Okay, what are we changing here? Wind kind of doesn't do anything. Purple also doesn't really do anything. Heavy doesn't really do anything. I'll just throw in a few MSTs. It's not the worst. Minutes to 3-hour queue time sounds horrendous. Okay, this is a fairly decent hand. Special. This guy. Add. This guy. Special this one. Add the boy. Godos. Sure, Godos is fine. We're then fine with that. You and you. Sure. Oh, hello. What the hell does bro have? I hate that I have to pull up the log here. This. Add the fusion. Affected this guy, send this guy. Add back, activate this guy. Add Crown? Crown's kind of okay. Crown's not crazy though. We'll add Crown. Okay, let's search here. Grab Dark Lord. Morningstar. We'll go Fuse. This guy, you, and you here. Special. This guy. I'm gonna get Fuse again, but I could also do that one to potentially nuke the field, which sounds better. We'll pass the turn. Special summon a guy? Sure. Godos. That's what Godos. Does this ignore summoning conditions? I don't think it does. Do I care. Kinda. That's fine. What they reveal? Mutiny. Sure. That one I do care about. Mm-hmm. They had a 1 in 3 chance of hitting the Herald that did something. Is the game bugging? Yes. Setting a card? Sure. End phase. Oh, fantastic. Let's fuse, shall we? Mm-hmm. This guy, you, and you, and you. You. Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. My turn. I have a 7. I can't make a pack bait, right? Pack bait's an 8. I got a 10. Tragic. Tragic. This guy's an illusion, right? Fucking hell. Can I? Thank you. God damn. Yeah. Okay. We'll flip this guy. And this guy. If I normal this, it doesn't really do anything. So there's that. Because this requires cards engrave. What exactly does this guy require? Dark fairies, specifically. Okay, cool. We'll go like this. To negate this guy. Sure. Go to combat. Combat. Game 2. I don't have a way of getting any of these guys on the field here, do I? Set. Pass the turn. Dark hole. Okay. We're going second here. We'll tech in the heavy polys. This one. Ultimate Slater's not great here. Do Kaijus do anything? Not really. Twins actually not terrible. Let's do this. I'm surprised they set and then went Dark Hole. I think they thought that their thing would trigger. I don't know why they thought that it did. Because I'm fair. Well, I already have the target. I don't know. I forget what that card does. They decided to fall into the Virtuous along with an aircraft so that everyone can pop scales. They really didn't want a control deck to exist in Master Duel. Heaven forbid we play a strategy that's not just wombo combo kill the opponent. It's taking my opponent so long. Don't know. What an insane hand from the boy. We have the guy that if it's sent to the graveyard searches. We have Forbidden Crown. Special summon a Heka hands. Sure. Yeah. You can special summon a Heka hands. I'll heck your hands. We're going after the hand. That's a choice. That's certainly a choice of all time. Not a choice I would have gone with, but sure. I always go for the deck as opposed to the hand, but sure thing. All goes. I could just add Droplet here. Isn't that crazy? We're gonna go for the fusion spell. Herald and the Searcher. Kind of crazy. Next they'll unban Red Ransom or Galaxy Dark Matter Dragon. True. I too wish Crown was obscenely expensive, so that no one played it. I'm only partially kidding. Comedy. You'll love to see it. We'll go like this. Just immediately start with this guy. These two. Here. Effect. Yeah. Set. Trap. Set. Contact. Another one. Banishment. Add. Normal summon. Activate the normal summon. Effect. Special. I don't really want to give them a guy, so we'll just special summon this guy. We'll activate the effect. Grab 2 tokens. Sick. I still have the fusion in grave. So let's go fusion. This guy. 1, 2, third. Okay, comment. Big ass guys, let's go! Why not play the level 1 fairy that can add? There's not a point to. What is it? Ava? Right? Ava's the one you're thinking about. 1, it's pointed. 2, there's not really a point to playing it because it specifically banishes light fairies. If I could look at the card. If I could look at the card. If I could look at the card. If I could look at the... There he is. I found him! Chat, I found him. Look at him. He's right there. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 2 other light fairy monsters, which means he would only be useful to search heralds after using a herald, which is, like, theoretically good. But we already are playing literally all of our deck as fairies, so it doesn't do anything. And then why this one? Why does that one show up? And then, yeah, that's it. So he doesn't really do anything. And we need, like, dark fairies for a lot of our stuff. So adding and diluting our deck with more dark fairies only hinders our deck as opposed to helps it. So that's kind of the idea. I'm also really not that big of a fan of this card in particular, and I think I want to cut it for just more Dark Lords. Like, Ukobak now does stuff. But that's a lot of normals that I don't necessarily want. Maybe we don't do that. I'm trying to think what would be best here. I could play a second Aston and another, and like Ukobak or something. I could play Enchantment. I'm always a big fan of Enchantment. Do you think I want another Nastin? I want another Ukobak. Yeah. Yeah, I think this card is probably just better. Or whatever the fuck this is. Why are you here? But I can, how does one look at a card? Clicking the card explains the card. True. Angels in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are aliens, and Ava was the first one. True. Yes, this is the YCS Columbus list. I believe I took it card for card. Though I'm not that big of a fan of this one in particular. It's just like, it allows you to like add Ixchel or the other guy whose name I can't remember off the top of my head because they're all like insanely difficult off of the level 4 normals. That's kind of the idea. But it's not the greatest. Most of the time I just side it out. Because every time I've drawn it, it's just been like a dead card. I don't know. I don't know if Nastin's better, though. Maybe Superbia? Eh. That's the thing, like... I want to play more Dark Lords, but I don't know if I can. Right? That's the big thing. There's not really space for them. Also, I'm not that big of a fan of the MSTs and the Kaijus. I don't know what I would switch them for. I probably would keep the Kaijus, but for the most part, they haven't been all too helpful. But like against Lunalight, they wouldn't be terrible. And then the MSTs just haven't really been all that applicable. I haven't played against that much in terms of back row, and I feel like playing, you know, third Ultimate Slayer or like DD Crow or something of that nature would probably be better, because I have 3 points with which to work with, so I could potentially play like Crow, but I don't know how useful Crow is right now with like Shifter and all of that jazz running around. So don't know. Anyway, I think I am going to call it quits there for today's stream, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye bye.